Yeah, g'day. It's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Delling from the website kangaroocourtofaustralia.com. Now, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is about to get schooled on corruption by Peter Dutton as far as freedom of information laws are concerned, because the Senate have set up an inquiry into the freedom of information laws and also the resignation of the Freedom of Information Commissioner about a month ago. So there was a previous government under Scott Morrison who abused the freedom of information laws like there's no tomorrow to cover up widespread corruption in the government. And when Anthony Albanese got into power, one of the things he promised during the election before he was elected in May last year was that he was going to be more transparent. Well, that turned out to be a big lie. We know that from a number of factors. Number one, the National Anti-Corruption Commission is going to only have secret hearings pretty much, when he was promised they were going to have public hearings. So there was one lie by Anthony Albanese. And freedom of information laws, like I said, they was abused by the previous government under Scott Morrison to conceal all their corruption. But when Anthony Albanese got to power, he hasn't done much since to improve that. In fact, he's had plans to just continue with the abuse of the freedom of information laws. And Peter Dutton has one-upped him. The Greens and the independent senators decided to have an inquiry into the freedom of information laws and the resignation of the Freedom of Information Commissioner, and Peter Dutton has supported that inquiry. So there's Peter Dutton, who was part of the previous government who abused freedom of information laws, and now going to hold an inquiry into Anthony Albanese and his government abusing freedom of information laws, and so they're going to load them up with the corruption allegations. And well, Anthony Albanese has sucker punched himself by continuing with the abuse of freedom of information laws. Now, I have a personal example of the abuse of freedom of information laws. Last year, in August last year, I filed an application for a freedom of information request in relation to the $18 million Australian Future Leaders Program fraud attempt by the Governor-General, David Hurley, and others. Now, I filed it in August last year. I've only just gotten the response in March 2023, 7 months later. But the problem you got there is in August last year, as it turns out, a person called Johnny Lee, well, they go by that name on Twitter, they filed an application almost at the same time on the same issue. And they went public with their response in September, October last year. They said, hey, we've got now a response for the Freedom of Information request. Here's all the information we got. But why did it take so long for my Freedom of Information request to be processed? Well, I believe it's because I used Senator Rex Patrick and his service, which he calls Transparency Warriors. And I think the government decided to undermine him and his service because they obviously don't like him. And he's been running a number of battles in court over the Freedom of Information request. He's filed numerous requests. And he's also taken the government to court in relation to the delays in freedom of information requests being processed. There's no statutory time frame. They can take years, and they have been taking years in some requests. And that's just gone to court in the last few days. But so I think they've deliberately tried to undermine him. Whether I'm right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Rex Patrick has just been empowered in a major way because he knows where all the bodies are buried in relation to the abuse of the freedom of information laws, because he actually runs a business in that area. So the new Senate inquiry, I'm sure he's going to be making many submissions and pointing them to where all our bodies are buried. So the government's in a lot of trouble, and Rex Patrick might end up being the kingmaker there. They need to keep him happy, I think, going forward. But even though they did undermine my request, and I believe it's because I'm trying to undermine Rex Patrick, his service was of value because he obviously knows what he's doing, and his applications were a lot better than what I would have done myself. I think it cost me $250 or something like that. So people who donate, that's where some of your money went. And if I had filed it myself, I think I would not have done as good a job. He filed it to 3 different departments, so it was of value. Anyhow, the Senate inquiry is going to deal with not just the resignation of the Freedom of Information Commissioner Leo Hardman, who resigned a month ago, and I published an article on it. I believe it was a constructive dismissal by the government. They wanted to get rid of him. But it's also going to deal with the resourcing of the Freedom of Information applications and reviews, and the possible creation of a statutory timeframe for completion of reviews. And that wouldn't have happened because without the hard work of Rex Patrick trying to drive those issues. Anyhow, I'll publish an article on my website on Thursday, the 30th of March, 2023, Kangaroo Court of Australia. You'll be able to see all the links, all the information, those information I got from the Freedom of Information request, all the documents in relation to the $18 million fraud attempt by the Governor-General, Australian Future Leaders Program. It's just a huge fraud attempt, which the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, was involved in. So if you visit my website tomorrow, you'll be able to see that. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you can go to my website now. You can sign up for the free email subscription. So as soon as I publish a new article, you get an email. And if you sign up for that, which is free, you'll get an email saying, please confirm that you have signed up. So just click on that and that'll confirm it. That way I'm not getting spammers sending me email and I don't spam you. And if you're watching this video on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe and notification buttons, and please share this video on Facebook and Twitter, etc. Thank you for your time and have a good day.